Hello everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to day 21 of the holiday card series for 2023. Today I'm using the Flower Burst Cling Stamp from Simon Says Stamp. Just was released last night, and this is actually a background stamp that I illustrated and designed for Simon Says Stamp, so I'm eager to use it. This card was actually inspired by someone in the comments on my Monday video, day 19, in the live chat. I think it was maybe Andrea. I can't remember who mentioned it, but someone said, "Hey, are you going to use Caron markers anytime soon?" And I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't used those in such a long time. Let's break them out. So my idea behind this card is do flowers, but make it Christmas. So I'm stamping this Flower Burst background stamp, which actually has a greeting in the center of it that you can remove. So I've removed that since it's a little bit more of an everyday or even Valentine's Day greeting. I've removed that, and I'm stamping it onto some cold press watercolor paper from Fabriano. This is the Artistico Extra White watercolor paper. I'm stamping it onto that watercolor paper twice in Versamark ink so that I can heat emboss this pattern. I'm coating all of the stamping I've done in gold embossing powder. This is the gilded color from Brutus Monroe. And then I'm going to heat set this until it's smooth and melted. And the joy of watercoloring over the top of heat embossed lines is that the lines resist the paint color. And so you can just kind of paint right over those lines and the lines remain. And they're bumped up. There's a little bit of a surface to the lines. So the colors also can kind of collect right at that edge, and you get some really cool drying effects. So like I said, I'm using my Caron markers. These are the Brush Marker Pros, and I've picked out a few colors. I picked out 6 colors for my painting today. I've got the color Cool Aqua, Red. I'm not sure what this next one's called. I think it's actually Lilac. Yes, Lilac, Burgundy, Curry, and then Black Olive. So I've basically got like a light and dark of red and green, and then I put in an aqua color and a purple just for some variation. So the first thing I'm going to do is one of my favorite things to do with Caron markers is to do an underpainting. And this is going to put just a little color down onto my watercolor project, and then I can start painting on top of it. And this is where you get kind of those colors mixing and melding, and it just looks really, really neat. So I first put down a wash of water. So my paper is very wet so the colors can move around. I've scribbled all 6 markers onto a slick surface. It could be anything. It could be stamp packaging, a dinner plate, whatever is going to be slick and kind of let that ink kind of bead up on the surface. And then I picked up each color and brought it over to my project with a paintbrush. I'm using a size 6 round brush at this point, but when it comes to the painting later on, I'll move to a size 2 so that I can get into the little intricate areas of each flower. So I did heat set this just to speed along the drying process, and I kept that heat tool moving so that it didn't remelt any of that embossing. Now I'm going to go in and start painting the different petals and different areas on the flowers. So I'm going to obviously it's sped up. I'm not painting this fast in real life, but I'm going to add some music over the top. But I wanted to let you guys know to watch for when I start building color on top of each other, trying to get lots of contrast, darker areas, things that really define each flower. Watch for that, because that's when you're going to get a really neat look. at the end there, I did splatter on some gold paint, and I'll have that link down below in the video description if you're wondering about the exact color I used. I'm now using the large written Merry Christmas die set from Simon Says Stamp. This is a die set that I did a few years ago, and it's the perfect size to kind of span across that center area. I'm using matte gold cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and I cut that out, and I considered using the shadow for this die cut to go behind it, but then I realized I didn't want to cover up that pattern, so I'm not going to do that. And then I got out my A7 layers dies to kind of cut this down. And then I realized I didn't want to cut away any of that painting. I loved it so much. So instead, I'm going to have an odd sized card today. So I used my Tim Holtz paper trimmer just to trim this down to as much of the area that I could preserve. And I think it ended up being about 4.5 by 5.5. And this would be a great time to let you all know that I'm going to be doing a big Tim Holtz trimmer giveaway. I've got a few trimmers from Tim Holtz that are brand new that have been hanging out in my craft room. So come back on Monday during my live, or you can just watch the replay. I'll have a form for you to fill out for the giveaway, and then I will be announcing the winners in my Day 25 video that goes up on Christmas Day. So you won't want to miss that. So come back for Monday's video, which is Day 22, so that you can sign up for that giveaway. So I put my painting on a 5x7 card base and then trimmed it down so that it was a little smaller. And then I started to put together my greeting. So I tried out a few different colors of what to put underneath the gold greeting. And eventually I decided to go ahead and just cut 3 black greetings and then put the gold on top. And I almost offset the black so it looked a little bit more like a shadow, but then I realized that with the gold die cut directly on top of the black, that it didn't really need to be offset. That for the most part, when you're looking at the card, it's tipped just enough that you can see a little bit of that black underneath. And it was just enough of a kind of a shadow, kind of faux shadow look that it made it really easy to read that Merry Christmas over the top. And I really didn't want to cover up any more of that colorful background than it was already. So this worked out really well. So I glued that on using some Honeybee precision glue. And then here is my finished card. I really love how this turned out. You could easily make it even more traditional Christmas colors by painting more green areas. I kind of leaned into the purple and the aqua, but you could definitely make it much more green and red if you preferred. Even like a darker burgundy red would be gorgeous. And you could get that with some brown shades, I think. So that is day 21 of the holiday card series. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. All of the supplies I used today are listed down below in the video description, so I hope you'll check those out. And I'll be back on Monday with day 22 at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I hope I'll see you there.